Is up? What's going on, everybody? Yeah, here we are. No surprise here. I hope nobody was surprised by the action today. I think it was actually uh, fairly predictable. Not that we predict. Let's go. Let's go. That's up. So I mean, again, look, we don't predict markets, but certainly bear markets are what they are, and they create great rallies, which we saw. Actually, we saw from two really bad numbers last week, the CPI and the PPI, which are all bullshit anyways. They're worse than they admit to. Okay, but at the end of the day, they are what they are. That's what they say they are. Okay, that's what we have to live with. But they were bad, and markets got creamed both days early, only to rally back on Wednesday almost to positive territory, and on Thursday to positive territory, followed by Friday's just basically straight up rally, which was followed through this morning until it wasn't. And then, of course, they kicked the crap out of them. Pretty dramatic reversals and going to make new lows, so that those would be considered potential key reversals. But again, I'm not going to worry about that crap right now. I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. We watch the markets, and certainly we can see that the market is still really just stuck in this consolidation range, which not a surprise. I mean, we talk about this every single week. Okay, what are the phases of the market? I don't need anything fancy to show me that we're just stuck in a trading range. Okay, now I would suggest that the next big move will be lower. Okay, I mean that's the way we're positioned, and not because that's what we decided. That's because that's what our algorithms are doing, and they've been doing pretty well. We went through a drawdown, and now we're back on track, as they say. And I think that I think too many of us decide on what we should be, where we should be going, instead of letting the market tell you where we should be going, because the market will always give you enough clues to be right a hell of a lot more than you're wrong. Okay, but there's one problem. Okay, you got to be willing to listen and watch those clues. Okay, any putts can call a direction, and we've seen it happen many times over the years. Okay, where you get somebody makes one great call, okay, and they become immortalized. What's her name from what you would call Elaine Gazzarelli and the other dunce. I forget their names, but Joe Granville, okay, who was made one call. I don't know, before I was born, I think it was. Okay, and yet here we are. Okay, so I think we make the common mistake of thinking that we know better, or that somebody knows better, when the bottom line is what? It comes down to what the price action tells you. Okay, trading is not simple, but that is simple if you put yourself in a position for success. You have the opportunity to be successful. But if you continue to try to fight these markets, or think, yeah, you're starting early today, big boy. Okay, you are starting early, but that's all right. I'm in a good mood today, so I don't care. But nah, listen, risk graphs are for people that are clueless on how the market works in the first place. Okay, and furthermore, if you need a risk graph to tell you what your risk is, you're in the wrong business. Okay, again, that is my views. Okay, if you need a risk graph to tell you what's going on next, you in the wrong business, baby. Okay, because if you can't calculate your own risk, God help you. Well, I guess our president had no luck at begging the Saudis to give him oil. Did anybody really think that they were going to give us oil because he went there and spent a gazillion dollars of our money? Okay, and not to mention the carbon footprint he just laid out there from his 747 customized, right? And you think that did anybody think they would actually possibly give us more oil because he asked? Do you think that any part of that world wants to see the United States prosper? Okay. I mean, if you do, you should think about that long and hard, because I don't think any of them want to see us prosper. They only want us, just like Brittany Griner. They only want us when we can do something for them, not when we need them. Okay. You know, this is, you know, the same as always. Okay. You know, the United States does a lot for a lot and helps just about everybody. And they ignore us or they treat us like dirt. And then naturally, when they need something, oh, let's call the United States. Okay. This fist bump. Yeah. Well, he is a moron. Okay. He was always a moron. Now at least he's got some sort of an excuse. Okay. I mean, he's got Alzheimer's. Okay. But he's always been a moron. Okay. Now he's just showing who he really is, but he can actually make an excuse for it. So again, if you don't like it, I mean, look, you can't hide from the facts that the economy has never been this challenging. Okay. I'm 65. Okay. I've been trading markets for 44 years, and I've never seen anything like this in my life. That the markets continue to try to fight what's going on because of the cheaper money, and the money ain't so cheap anymore. And your president continues to blame everybody, but who's to blame? Okay. Now, again, you can say that you're thrilled and happy with the economy. God bless. Okay. What can I tell you? Right? I mean, look, I can't argue with you if you're happy with that. Okay. If you're happy with what's going on, hey, good for you. Okay. But I would have to say that on this call here, 95% got to be pretty unhappy about the situation. Okay. And, you know, don't be ashamed if you're happy. You can say so. I won't pick on you. I mean, listen, I can't tell you how to think. All right. But today's action, and this is one of the biggest things that is more troubling than anything, is the true lack of participation in the market. I mean, who would have thunk that you had a dramatic reversal in the markets? I mean, the Dow had almost a 700 point swing to, okay, from top to bottom. Who would have thought that we'd have no volume to go along with it? Okay. If I said to you without looking at this, what was the volume today? I think you would have thought it was pretty high without looking. I mean, I've yet to see markets that are acting like this, where you have a pretty significant reversal and a 2% down day, okay, or 0.5%, whatever, 0.5% in the indexes, 1%, almost 1% in the S&P, and yet nobody cares. Nobody's selling. Everybody's just watching. Okay. But you look at this, and I think the VIX was a pretty big tip-off when we were skyrocketing early this morning. Excuse me. Early this morning, the VIX never took out Friday's low. What do you say there, Guitar Boy? We never took out Friday's low on the volatility index. Now, again, that I don't believe in it as a fear index, but I do believe in it as a measure of options trading, which means that the options trading, we're buying, okay, options. I don't think they were buying calls, other than that, just so FYI, calls are always the number one strategy. And that's because we don't know what the option buyers are doing with those long calls. They could just as easily be creating a synthetic position, which would be short. Okay. So again, don't get confused and don't get sucked into that high option volume, because the fact of the matter is there's so much flexibility with options that whatever they tell you, nobody knows. Okay. The only time you'll get a better clue is if you're willing to trade the cash indexes at the close, you can get a better feel. But again, this is anything that happens is always, moment to moment, except for obviously longer term trends. Okay. And in the S&P or in any one of the index, the Russell, okay, it's consolidating, but the overall trend is down. Okay. And I've told you many, many times, how was this going to resolve? Okay. Itself, this big flush, which was on heavy volume. So number one, you created a blow off, which would have been a probable buy. Okay. As a trade, not as an investment. And so how does that resolve? Well, it bounced a little bit. Now it's going straight sideways. Okay. And we'll probably continue to do so, depending on at what speed and at what pace. Okay. But it's going to, as long as it stays below this line, which I think it will for an extended period of time. Okay. As long as it stays below the 200-day moving average or whatever average you're going to get. I don't trade those, so I don't know where they are, I don't even know where they sit right now. Okay. Because I could care less. They have zero meaning to me. Okay. But if you look at this should sit here and consolidate within this range for, based on this for another week or so. Now, obviously there's no, just like they don't assign how much volume they're going to trade every day, they don't tell you when they're going to make the next big move. We could certainly see another blow off to the downside, okay, followed by more consolidation as it waits to catch up. But more often than not, okay, you're going to see whichever side you're on, some retracement. We're going straight up, you're going to see some retracement to the downside, okay, to the top end. And if you're in a downtrend, you're going to see some retracement, okay, or some mean reversion. However you want to talk about it, I can get as complicated or as simple as you want. I prefer simple because that's me. I'm simple, okay. So I think that you'll see, we saw some mean reversion, and we could see it last in the Russell for, I can't say how long, but I wouldn't expect it to be much more than another week. But that doesn't mean that it can't trade in 1,000-point range during that week. Remember, when you're trading, okay, you just want big ranges. You don't really care at the moment what the longer term perspective looks like. You care about the time frame that you're trading. Okay, very important to understand the difference between, when I'm trading in the morning, okay, 4 minutes, okay, with my game, okay, which we trade together every morning. Okay, we're concerned about the next 4 minutes. Okay, we're not concerned about anything else. Okay, it's always what we're gonna do now. Okay, and last week we didn't trade Wednesday, Thursday, but Tuesday, Friday we had monster winners. And today I don't know how it turned out for everybody because there was too many things that I could not account for everybody to make an honest assessment. I would say that 50% made money and 50% lost money today. That'd be my guess. Okay, but we did see obviously a dramatic turn in markets, and notice that there wasn't, there was one little blow off here, but again, there was pretty much just once we peaked, okay, pretty much a straight line down. The peak on the opening, the double top, a couple hours later, and down they came a run. Okay, so look, markets are what they are, and I think that when you learn to understand that and quit watching that stupid crap news, that's why. Well, I said 50-50, right? I know you lost because you played along with me, and you held the euro currency and got stopped out twice. Okay, listen, I could say what you did without even looking, right? I could have said, if you want me, I can say your name because I know exactly what some people are going to do. They're going to follow exactly what I say, and some are going to be more conservative. And again, I understand that. I'm not ashamed of it, and I don't think that that I should worry about it. But again, I know who's going to do what, and I have no problem with it. I think it's the right trade. I wouldn't do it if I didn't think it was right. Okay. Oh, with the second gold, right? That got the break even. Now again, I did take the break even on the second one, but that's all good. Okay, again, you're going to hit the bigger winners when they hit, and sometimes you got to sit back and take some of the punishment when you make those decisions. there's no thing in trading, and they say the bulls get a little bit, the bears get a little bit, and the pigs get slaughtered. But there are times that being a pig is okay. Okay, being greedy there are certain trades at certain times that greed can be okay. Okay, and I can't don't ask me for an example of when, because I can't give you that. I can only give it to you by watching. Okay, just like today, this morning when the Nasdaq was up 150, and I said, in my opinion, I think we could see this whole market reverse and make new lows on the day. Okay, because I could kind of see that action that was happening. Am I going to be right all the time? 100% no. No, I'm not going to be right all the time. But I do have a pretty good understanding of the markets, which is what I try to pass on every Monday night, is to give you a better understanding of what we should expect to see. And I don't look at the news. Okay, I haven't watched the news since the what the hell was it? What do you call that thing in January that the president does every year? Is it State of the Union? Okay. And since I watched 5 minutes of the State of the Union and almost threw up, but I knew I had to do an interview the next morning on the State of the Union, so I figured I might as well know something. And then probably since then, I don't know, 5 years, 6 years. Okay. So it's trading view. I want to know how to switch. I'd rather have the watch list on this side. I don't like it over here. It's cockeyed for me. Okay. It's too much work. I'm too lazy. I'm too used to looking on the other side. Okay. That's, it's natural for me to look left, not right. Anyways, look, there's a lot of bad things going on. Okay. And interest rates are soaring still. We've got all kinds of housing troubles now. And again, it's just beginning. I did look at something that said that Manhattan rent is soaring again. And I guess even higher prices than they were before the pandemic. Now, I don't know that to be factual, but I did read that or heard that somewhere. Okay. And I think that, when you can look at it, it is true. Well, there you go. There's a verification. Okay. And again, what's the reasoning behind it? Well, there's a demand. Unfortunately, okay, when governments create artificial demand, okay, it turns into real demand. And what do you end up with? Well, you end up in cheder, as they say. You end up in a shithouse. And this is what they've created, by destroying small business, by destroying competition, okay, which is what they've done. Okay, you can disagree with me all the day you want. We can battle that for years, right? This particular administration has systematically destroyed small business, okay, which means also including the smaller landlords and the true competition for the BlackRocks of the world. Okay, BlackRock is buying up everything because this administration is allowing that to happen. Right? I know of about 6 businesses they've bought that were huge deals. Okay, that were private companies, and they're buying up the real estate and they're buying up everything. Well, again, you let that happen and you keep the little guy out, you're really destroying the economy and competition to go along with the economy. I mean, the United States runs on competition. Okay. But I guess all we care about now is a participation trophy and screw the competition. Okay. But of course, the quality of our goods has shifted to a little bit poorer than they've been because you got no competition. So now the people that put the little guys out that used to have pride and ownership and pride in their product, okay, has now been put out of business. So the guys who can now create it can create it for a cheaper cost and still stick it to you. Okay. So anyways, I don't know. What can I tell you? At the end of the day, what I got in crude's ass today? Joe Biden saying that you're going there to beg for more oil. Look at that. I mean, that was a great bounce after last week's pounding. okay, but still in a downtrend. Okay, this again, remember, the trend itself goes, a true trend goes at about 45 degrees. Okay. When they escape too far away, they're going to have some mean reversion. So whether or not there was fear, okay, certainly we know one thing for sure. As they continue to take markets down faster, actually, I'll ask the question. What do you say, Ash? I'll ask the question to the audience. Okay. When markets go too fast in one way, what really is developing? Okay. And it could be either side. So it's not just a short squeeze, but there's something that's actually, I think it's an analogy you could give me would be the best. Okay. Fear or FOMO. Okay. But give me an analogy. Okay. Of what you think it would be the same as. I think that's a better way to ask the question. Okay. It would be the same as what? Okay. Well, if everybody got on the same side of a boat, what would happen to the boat? Okay. It would probably sink. Okay. And if everybody got on the same side of a teeter-totter, there would be no teeter-totter. And that's what happens in markets. Everybody gets, the sheep follow the lamb to slaughter. Okay. And that's how you end up with these violent moves that come out of nowhere, and even out of a trend, which again, it can be an uptrend too. It doesn't have to be down. Okay. It can be either way. The biggest, most vicious rallies come from a downtrend or a down market, because people are more afraid to be short than they are to be long. Okay. Believe it or not, people are more afraid of the short side of the market than the long side of the market. And many of you know from your own personal experience, you'll hold a dog losing trade as long as it's long forever. Okay. You'll sacrifice some of your winning trades to hold a piece of crap. Okay. Now, tell me you've never done that, right? And that's one of the reasons you see, I think some of the reasons we saw some of the action in the commodities over the last couple of weeks where they really got destroyed. But I think what you really saw is a lot of people were cashing in winning trades to hold on and pay the margin on the pigs that they own. Okay. Now, do I know that for a fact? I do not. But that would be my assessment of watching this. Okay. So, when we watch markets, we have to remember, what our objectives are and what we're doing. I'm just doing some real quick cleanup here. Just hold on a second. Gotta close some of the stuff I was playing with all day. Get rid of it and take the money and run. I don't want to be a pig. One more. I think I got one more thing to do. Hold on. And I think we're done. I think I got them all. If I didn't, well, if I didn't, so be it. Okay. I'll be crying. I'll be bitching in the morning. Okay. Anyways, not like I don't bitch every day anyway. So, what more would you expect? Okay. The short side is your favorite side. Well, again, if you're a true trader, the short side is always your favorite side. Traders themselves love the short side because the speed at which they go down is a lot faster as a rule. Okay. So, I mean, certainly if you can handle it, and look, we all know one thing, right? If you've been around me long enough, you know that markets are going to go up over time. Okay. They're not going up every day. They're not going up every year, but the average year over year is going to be 8.5 to 10%. And it depending what schematics you want to look at. If you go back just to 1950, it's 10% per year. If you go back to the beginning of time, it's about 8.5%. Okay. But the fastest moves are always to the downside because, listen, the fear comes in much faster, which then creates what? The short squeeze that drives these monster massive rallies, because what happens to people is they're like rats crawling over each other to get out. Okay. And you sit there and you go, like here, let's just use crude for example today. So you're here watching crude maybe last night, and you're looking, boy, this should be a lot lower. And you start with the famous words, that can't be right. Okay. And you know what? It's always right. But what happens is they start to cover, and before you know it, everybody is covering. Okay. Everybody is chasing after that, which creates those massive short squeezes, which is why bear market rallies are the most vicious rallies that you can see. Okay. Bear market rallies are vicious, and they make a bear market look better, which then creates a trap for investors who have no clue of what they're looking at. They go, oh, this looks great. Okay. They have no concept to what is behind all that. That's why you see out of nowhere a vicious spike. Okay. And you might see some follow through. Okay. But typically remember this. Okay. Bull markets will tend, again, nothing, excuse me, nothing is 100%, but bull markets will tend to open lower and run higher. And bear markets are different, the opposite, open higher and close lower, which is a classic today. And I think that was I would say the tip off for me today was that they were opening stronger and higher, but the volatility index did not go down and make a low, which it would have if it was going to continue. And there's a few other factors where I was watching that indicated that the rally was probably over this morning. And as it turns out, it was. Okay. Now, again, I don't want you to get in the habit of trying to predict what's going to happen, but there are things that if you trade enough, you can start to recognize a little bit quicker. You can't always act, even if you recognize it. But if given the opportunity, being prepared to act is always a good thing to do. Okay. And it's funny, Daniela asked me a question this morning about Biden's rating. I mean, it's lower than Trump. Well, really? I mean, who could possibly approve of what they're doing? And thank God for Joe Manchin, who put Build Back Better in its place, okay, for good. All right. So, we've got a lot of stuff going on in these markets, but nothing looks too appealing. Okay. Now, we've got negative prints in GDP, but yet the global economists refuse to say recession. Now, are we in a recession or not? What do you guys say? I say yes. Okay. I say we've been in a recession for a long time. What do you guys say? Good thing I speak Spanish. Okay. Now, look, again, you can be happy in a recession. A recession doesn't mean a disaster. The disaster is created by the continuing of the denying of the economists telling the facts of what they are. Okay. We're in a recession. So what? If we would let the crap companies that are supposedly too big to fail, and now we'll start with the banks. Okay. Now, no business should be too big to fail unless it's the federal government. They should fail altogether because we're so far off the original Constitution, okay, that the federal government was never intended to be the biggest employer in the world. Okay. And this has been building, year after year after year after year, and it's a joke. Okay. And certainly they have no budget left to, but why can't we let a bank fail if they fail? Okay. Why do they handpick who they want to allow to fail? I mean, a true economic system, if you're not strong enough to survive, you should be out of business. You should be put down. Okay. I mean, is that not what is supposed to happen? How many of your businesses, and I know I have a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people in business for themselves, how many times have you been bailed out? Okay. Are they there helping you when you're out of business? I don't think so. It's a very frustrating decision because really, what are they really doing to us? Okay. Well, they're giving us taxation without representation. Okay. They are continuing to add on to making the money cheaper, okay, which is a natural hike to inflation, which we get no say so over. So, again, they're really taxing us like through the back door, okay, which is ridiculous. I mean, I believe a couple hundred years ago we had a battle over that, okay? But you can't keep people only earn so much money. You can't keep raising prices and taking backdoor taxes from them. Okay. Government is organized crime. They're not so organized, but they are crime. I agree with that. I agree with that they're criminals. Okay. But they're not so organized, right? The left hand never knows what the right hand is doing in that place known as the swamp. Okay. They continue to steal from Americans. Okay. And everything I've seen them do in recent vintage is costing you and me more of our paycheck, okay, instead of protecting us. Now, I thought that government was supposed to protect us, but of course we know the old famous Ronald Reagan quote, I'm here from the government. I'm from the government. I'm here to help. Right. Put everything away, hide everything, because they're going to take it. Okay. So anyways, let's see what's going on in the markets. And obviously there'll be more. I know I always got more. The dollar, well, gee, the dollar sold off a little bit. Gee, what a tragedy. Okay. Everybody wants to blame the dollar for the sell-off in gold and for the sell-off in the commodities. That's a bunch of BS. Okay. Yes, it is a component of, but correlation is never immediate, and demand outweighs price always. Okay. So when people need to eat and there's no food available, do you think that the grain prices are going down? Okay. And they're not. Okay. So the dollar had gone straight up. We actually got to almost 110, I think, right? Or 109? 109 and change before you get in a pullback. Well, is this not okay? What pattern is this? Who remembers? Who remembers from their pattern training? Okay. That'd be the old cup and handle in the dollar. Okay. Here's the cup, here's like the handle, here's the breakout. This should hold right here. Like if it gets this low, okay, 106.50, it should go a lot higher. And I would say, Connie, 106.50 to 109. Big range for the dollar. I would never give a range this big, but we've never been in these times to have this problem. Okay. The times we're in now are very dangerous. Okay. We're in a very dangerous predicament because our leadership is so weak. Okay. Our leadership is giving everything away for nothing. Okay. And you can disagree with that all you want. You're wrong. Okay. They're giving away everything right now. Okay. China is more powerful than we are right now. Okay. We're being laughed at around the globe. Okay. In the meantime, so the dollar is the reserve currency for now. Okay. And it will be. And that's where money will flow, not only from many individuals who have lots of money, but countries buy US dollars when there's uncertainty. Okay. It is countries that are buying dollars. Okay. And of course, because the fiat currency is so fraudulent, it can easily be tricked around a little bit because they know that they have people, citizens, they can pay for their clusters. In the meantime, the euro currency, okay, 6 echo. Well, guess what? It got right to par. I was on the golf course getting drilled, okay, by a great guy, okay. Nice shot, John. And he says, is this the day? And I said, I think we're going through, but we stopped right at par. Okay. Now, again, there's a bounce coming. I told you never to be so certain that there's not going to be a penny or a 2 penny rally. What did we get? We've got just about a 2 cent rally right now. And look at where the rally went to, or is at, right at resistance. Okay. 102.50 is resistance. I ain't buying this at any price. It's going to 88 cents. Maybe at 88 cents, I'll be a buyer. But for today, there's no chance, but there will be some support. Probably there's a couple of spots. You do not have to write these down, Connie, but probably around 101.20 and then 100, 100 and a half. Okay. And then par. Okay. But make no mistake, possibly even by next week, we'll be trading below par. The EU is in dire circumstances. Okay. There's a lot of problem. Is there a rates meeting this week? I don't know. I don't follow that crap, man. I don't care. Okay. When you've watched enough of this garbage over time, there's nothing for me to see. Google split today. The split took effect Friday after the close. Okay, so today was the first trading day of Google, and I actually added it to our list today as well. Okay. So the Bitcoin, look, I don't know. It was up, it was flying higher and unbelievable. Look at where it failed at. Oh my goodness, it failed right at resistance, right where you might have expected it to fail. And it's really just looked in a range, it's like 19,000 to 22,000. We've been stuck here for like ever. Okay. And I do believe that Bitcoin is real. And I do believe, to quote Seinfeld, they're real and they're spectacular. Okay. I do believe that they're good. Okay. And again, I would never put more money into them than I think, okay, than I'm willing to lose and go to zero. Okay. But I do think they're going a lot higher. Okay. It could be true. I wouldn't be surprised, private. Okay. So, but again, 19,000 to 22,000. We're really just stuck in a range. What's going to drive them out here? I don't know. Okay. In my opinion, I've said this many times on TV and on air. The cryptocurrency is the currency of the libertarian. Okay. Because supposedly it cannot be manipulated or controlled. Okay. I don't like to use the word manipulated, so that's a bad choice of words, but with my limited vocabulary, I couldn't get to much. But I don't like things that can be added to. I think that's the right word. I don't like things that can be diluted. Okay. Well, exchanges are always going to go bust. Okay. Again, there's the crypto exchanges going bust is one case for potential regulation. Okay. On the exchanges. Okay. On the exchanges, not on the product, but on the potential exchanges, because that is, when you want to make sure your money is guaranteed. So I would love to see a trading floor or something of that nature. Okay. To take charge of that, so that we know that our money is guaranteed. Okay. Coinbase partially does that. Okay. Because Coinbase, if you have cash in your account, it's guaranteed like a bank. Only cash, not cryptos. Okay. So in the meanwhile, okay, they're just stuck in this range. Bonds, which were long, make me sick. As you know, I never liked being long bonds to begin with. It looks to me they've kind of peaked. I don't know if they're going to change tomorrow. I wish they would, but I think that, again, I think interest rates are going much higher. For today. Now, again, I'm not going to sell a position. I'm going to stay with my long position from a portfolio standpoint, but during the day, I will trade them and I will sell resistance as a day trade, in which I will have a stop as well. But I think you're looking at probably, now we're tightening up in a range, probably 138 to 140, okay, 141. And, obviously the trend is higher. As much as I hate it, okay, I still won't get to decide where it's going to go. But I do believe that interest rates are going a lot higher. Okay. And I think that that obviously will drive the bonds lower, because that's the benchmark. That's the underlying. Okay, they go in opposite directions. What's driven them higher recently, I don't know, and it's not fear. Okay, and of course the same goes for the notes. Right now, the notes are what our interest rates are benchmarked off of. Okay, what are the 10 years? I don't even know what they are right now. 296 in the 10 year. I think the 10 year is going to, in my opinion, 5%. Not tomorrow. I mean, maybe this year. I think that really depends on how the back half of the year goes and the action. And of course, gold, Golf Charlie. This is a pretty sick rally when you think about how much gold has come down. Okay. And you think about how many gold bugs are out there that can't believe it, that keep crying, manipulation. Okay. Again, nothing can be manipulated without two sides of a trade. Okay. Now, can it be manipulated for 20 minutes? Yeah, that can be done. I mean, hell, I did that myself, not in gold, but I did that myself a couple of times when I was on the floor. But you cannot control it long term. Okay. I have a bid at 1680. I would put a bid in it nowhere, son. Okay. I think you're making a mistake. Okay. I think you should wait to see the reaction first in the market and then be a buyer and be willing to pay more than 1680 if that is the bottom. I gave you the same tip in wheat and it worked perfectly. Okay. I don't think that there's an order. Why would I want to work an order? And again, this is not to hound you. Okay. But why would I want to work an order at 1680 when we're in a downtrend? Okay. I'd rather pay 1700 on the way back up, knowing that it looks a lot stronger and it should go a lot higher than pay 1680 and have to hold it and not puke it out if it goes to 1600. Okay. Now, if you're buying physical, that's different. Okay. If you're buying physical, you buy it anytime. I mean, if you're buying it as an investment, I just bought some. I don't care. I don't watch it for my investment. I don't know how much I have. In the meantime, 1700 is huge. Okay, tried to violate it. It has lifted the last couple of days. I think 1740 is pretty solid resistance. Okay, now certainly it could turn at some point. And I'm a gold fan. I mean, I'm not against gold. Okay, I own physical. I buy it all the time, as I tell you every week. But I'm short paper gold right now, and I would never invest in paper gold. I think anybody who invests in paper gold is going to be in for a rude awakening at some point in their life when you go to get it, and when you go to cash it. Okay, because I think what you're going to find out is that there ain't enough gold in the world to cover what they get out on paper. Okay, and we'll see again. Anyway, 1700 to 1740, but I think, in my opinion, true support is around 1650 now. Okay, that's where I think we're headed now. Okay, we hit the 1700 target today. I think 1650 is next. Right. Silver, another pretty pathetic little rally. In a market that's going to do nothing but going down. Okay, now we're still short this as well. Okay, and when you look at the rally and how light volume was on these rallies, pretty pathetic. Okay. Now look, I'm a big silver fan too. Okay. However, again, when I'm trading, I have no allegiance to anything when I'm trading. Okay. Because I'm only trading it for whatever period of time I'm going to trade it. Right? If I'm using 4 minutes, then I only care about the next 4 minutes or getting stopped out. If I'm trading a 30-minute chart, I only care about the next 30 minutes. Remember, it's down to the time frame. But those of you who continue to try to pick bottoms in precious metals or anything else like it should go see a doctor and have your head examined, because you're never going to survive trying to pick the bottom of a market. Okay. The only bottoms you would want to pick at any time is when it is like, if I was going to work an order in gold today, I'd work an order at 1400. Go till cancel. Okay. There I take a crack at it. Okay. But up here, what's to stop it from going another 10% lower and another 10%? Nobody knows where it's going to end up in the next few days. 20 years from now, it'll probably be silver, probably be 100 or whatever. Who knows, right? Okay. Just like the Dow. When I started trading, the Dow was 800. Now it's 30,000. Okay. In the meantime, silver, $18 is pretty key. I think you're really 18, 19. Okay. I don't think you're going much past 19 unless we're going to reverse, which is always a possibility. Okay. Platinum, I had my finger. We don't trade this anymore because it's not liquid enough for us to trade it in our portfolios. But I had my finger on the buy trigger. I just felt that, that 800 was going to be pretty good support. I said, I can't do that. I teach exactly not to try to pick a spot. I said, I can't do it. And of course, it was right, but that's not the point. Again, I can assure the ones I was wrong on too. But I think that, again, this is in a pretty nasty downtrend as well. Okay. And I think now, we were watching 1,000 as resistance. We were watching 900. I think 900, but maybe even less. You might see, obviously there's a lot can happen between now and tomorrow. But 870 might be resistance. 800 is support. Now, if you buy physical, I'd have no problem buying. I just bought some more here. Okay. I have no problem buying that. I think it's on sale as a physical metal, but you have to be buying it with capital that you can afford not to look at. Okay. Remember, there's a big difference between stepping in with leverage margin capital on a product that you're going to be forced to make a decision versus buying something that you can hold through whatever happens. There's a big difference there. And many try to take shots and buy things they can't afford or can't afford to hold and can't afford, a 10% or a 5% drawdown. And, again, there's no guarantee that you're going to pick the bottom or the top. Okay. Anyway, 800, 870. Copper, gee, I'm shocked that it actually bounced a little bit, right? And we've gone straight down. Okay. When we broke down to the bottom side of consolidation, we've gone straight down, had a little bit of consolidation on the way down. And once again, you found some support. Look, this looks like it wants to go a lot lower. Okay. Now, could it find a bottom? Could this be the bottom? Yeah, it could be. Okay. 320 could be. I think it's going under $3 right now. I think you're looking at 320 to 345. Okay. And I would be a welcome seller at 345. Not the time, the price. Corn, after last week's beatdown, it was only natural you can get a bounce. I mean, even the bounce couldn't hold. Okay. Now I'm a big grain bull long term. I'm short right now. I'm short them all. Okay. But long term, I am a big bull. And I say that I give full clarification when I'm on air too. Right now I'm short, but I believe we're going dramatically higher. That my opinion on these has not changed as to where we're going. Okay. I think they're going dramatically higher. Okay. And I think that, it's not today, but you're already seeing the weather issues. We've got a food shortage coming. People ignore, and suddenly I think you'll get the big move. And I think the other thing you're seeing in here, so you all understand where my thinking comes from, is because volume is so light. Okay. Funds try to manipulate. Okay. But really, what are they trying to get to go happen here? Okay. It is my opinion. Again, this is purely an opinion, but banks that run funds sometimes try to push things to a certain point that forces liquidation. Okay. Which would create the big drop down. And I don't think that's going to happen, but I think that a lot of the selling has been either by people that were trying to take money out because they had made money there and they're trying to protect other dog positions. And I think the funds are trying to squeeze them a little bit because they know in their minds that there's a big rally coming as well. Okay. So, but we'll see. In the meantime, we're short. Okay. Now I am not a willing adding on, but I think probably 635 is probably the top end here. And I think you're probably, 590 as support. And again, we're short. So just give you full disclosure of where we stand. Soybeans have the same opinion. Okay. Now I'm going to switch over to my other, the other charts are better for these few products. Okay. So let me just go here momentarily. Okay. And these are November beans, okay, or known as the new crop. Okay. And I think you found pretty good support, right around $13. I don't think they're going below there. Although listen, anything can happen. They could go below. Ukraine in the background supposed to be meeting to open. They're not opening it up. Listen, they're not doing anything until they settle this war or whatever you want to call it. Okay. And Putin is having a field day with what's going on. And Russia's never flourished so much with all their supposed defaults that are being claimed in the rhetoric of the press. Okay. In the meantime, I think $13 is the bottom. Okay. I think right now you're probably looking at some resistance at about 1450. Now, they'll sound like big ranges, but if you've watched recently, you can see how much they trade. Okay. I think we're through anything in here. So I think it's a big wide range. Okay. Now, again, we're short. Okay. I'm not really interested in selling more. I'd be more interested in looking for it to turn and certainly looking to grab onto these on a big pullback. Okay. Or when we reverse. Right. In the meantime, like $13 to $14.50. And wheat had a big day, but again, they gave up a lot of gains too. They were up much higher. In fact, when I was on air this morning, corn was up 14, beans were up like 50, and wheat was up like 45 cents. So they gave back a pretty substantial gain. And I think you're seeing the support is around 765ish or so. And I think right now resistance in wheat is probably 820, 830. Now be very careful. All right. There are certain prices and certain commodities that are very dangerous when they're having certain types of action. And wheat has been unbelievable, right? I mean, the price action of wheat, if you remember, we went up 4 days in a row limit, and then we went down and we were at 13 or some dollars, then we came back down. I think wheat's going a lot higher. But again, the trend right now is lower. The volume is still sucks. So, again, I certainly don't want to get caught overnight being short wheat at these prices, on a trade. I know we are short. We were also long all the way up. Okay. Anyways, like 765 to 820. Okay. And then in the feeder cattle market, look at that. The feeders were higher early, which was kind of surprising because typically the natural reaction is for when corn goes higher is for those to sell feeders, but they actually help. Okay. And they were actually higher earlier, and then they did close higher, probably with a little bit of a sell-off in corn. But the bottom line is we're long, and I think when you look at this picture, okay, the sell-off was no surprise, after a dramatic rally. I mean, think of the pricing we're at right now. We're at really pretty high pricing. Okay. And I don't think that we're going much higher. I don't think they're going down yet so fast. I mean, certainly they could go down, but I don't think they're going down quickly. I think that they're probably what I would say they're kind of like fairly priced in the environment right now. Okay. And I don't, other than if there's a major crisis like a disease or something, other than something that's beyond any human control, I don't see them going dramatically higher, either the fats or these are the feeders or the fats. And if you're looking at feeders, look, we're long, but I wouldn't be an anxious buyer. I don't see a lot of upside potential here. Okay. Again, I don't see it going down yet, but I don't see a dramatic move to the upside either. To me, these prices are very high, not compared to inflation, but compared to what they've been. Okay. And, again, the all-time highs is only about 40 cents from here in live cattle and about 70 cents in feeder cattle. Okay. And there's an old saying, commodities, high prices cure high prices and low prices will cure low prices. And this is not in a zone of anything. This is like in the middle of nowhere from a place I take a shot at. Okay. In the meantime, I think you're looking at probably 133.5 if you're watching to probably 140. Okay. I think that's really the range at which this will trade. And I think that's the range it's going to stay in. I don't think, again, in my eyes, we can only go a lot lower from here. I was surprised, in fact, they're higher today with the price of oil because I think they're linked, because when it comes down to the consumer and the cost of what they're spending, right? If you got to fill up your tank and you got to feed your family, you're probably not buying steak. Okay. But again, I could be wrong. And hogs had a nice up move, but look at them. They're really just kind of hanging. Okay. So as I've said on RFD TV for weeks, and I'll say it here, I think the meats are pretty much fairly priced where they're going to be. I don't think there's a lot of upside to go yet, and I'm not predicting that they're going down. I just don't think there's a lot much more room to go to the upside. Okay. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I think any pressure will create selling and not buying. Okay. All right. Natural gas. Okay. We're short this. I'm not happy. Oof. Ouch. Okay. This is always the problem in this wildest of all wild commodities. Okay. This makes gigantic moves back and forth. And, we're going into, we're into the hurricane season. And next thing you know, we'll be going into the fall. And all of a sudden, this has become, because of the high inflation, because of the lack of supply, because of our government's or this administration specifically, their unwillingness to shale or frack. Okay. Now, I was with somebody who I have a lot of respect for last week, and they told me, and I believe this, that fracking and shale producing does not pollute. It does not create any more carbon in the system other than the fuel that people burn. So when I look at it and I go, well, we're burning fuel anyways. We're not giving up fossil fuels. All we're doing is paying a lot more for what we already have that we have here. Okay. So why would we continue to shun the ability to do it ourselves and actually help the Eurozone, help Germany, and make some money on top of it? I mean, why? If anybody can explain to me why we're so dumb and why we won't do that, okay, it's beyond me. How late can you trade stock in the after hours? Well, it depends on who you're with. But if you're with Tradier, I believe they're done at 5 Eastern or maybe 6. It's either 5 or 6. I don't remember. Okay. I mean, if you're with Thinkorswim and the indexes, they trade 24 hours anyways. Okay. But I think it's either 5 Eastern or 6 Eastern. TOS, I think, is later. I mean, they're trading, it's basically, you have to call them because I really don't know their hours. But I would think that, and some of you may know here, okay, but I would say that probably 6 Eastern or 7 Eastern, except for the ETFs, which trade 24 hours. Okay. So natural gas, I'm going to assume this is going to change tomorrow. But if I'm wrong, then I would think 770 is going to be resistance. Okay. And I think you're looking at probably $7 support and then 650. Okay. IBM, what's it doing? Let me look at it in a minute, man. All right, for you, I'll do it right now because I know you have a position and you're probably trying to do something. It looked like it was a non-event. What happened? IBM. Oh, baby, that's a good thing. That's good for the good guys. I could be happy about that. You want to buy some IBM? Yeah. I mean, TOS can probably do it right now. It looks like it's still trading. This is TOS. Okay. Listen, try to buy it right now on your account, and if not, call them. Okay. Call the trade desk. They'll let you know. Same amount of fuel is used worldwide, no matter where it comes from. They think the greenhouse gas stays. They don't. It never comes over the United States. If you're torturing the middle class, it doesn't get here. And we're gonna put a dome over the United States. Okay, nice, good trade. That's a nice lockup in one of your extra puts. Did you buy it all, or did you buy only half? Okay. Their green agenda doesn't work. Their green agenda is a bunch of bullshit. Okay. Anyways, crude, we're still short, and I don't see any reason now. Listen, the move could be big enough to trigger a change. I don't think so, but again, I'm not going to argue if it is. I think $1 is still resistance. I think you're looking at 90 to $1. Okay. Now, full disclosure, I still think this is going to all-time new highs. I don't think the move is done here yet, but I think for now it's done. Okay. Again, we could go higher. It could be over now. We could start running right now. But I think that in my views and my opinion, right now we're headed a little bit lower. Okay. And that's based on what I'm watching and not based on my opinion, because my opinion is I think it's going much, much higher. Okay. Of course, you're suffering in the UK. Okay. Damn, working for a living. Tough break, babe. Tough to get a job. Anyways, 90 to 100. Cocoa, look, it's bouncing a little bit. It's still on a straight downtrend. Here, right here. It should fail from here. We're still short. Cotton, look at this bounce. I mean, it's not a very big bounce. Again, we get too overwhelmed with numbers. Look at the percentage gain and look at the percentage fall. Cotton's come down almost 65% from the top. Okay, really? So you get a little bit of, you get a 2% or a 3% or a 5% rally? Like, that's a big deal. Okay. I mean, we can't trade it unless you're up in the middle of the night and you want to trade in some tricky markets. And I don't recommend that for anybody who's not very experienced. Okay. But certainly I'd like to be a seller at 100 if it gets right there, or buck. Sugar we reversed today and we're now long. And it looks like, wants to go higher. Did break out again. Went up a little bit too fast, but now it's kind of settled and now it's starting to trend higher again. Okay. OJ, which we're short. Look at it. I mean, it's coming on the bottom line. Okay. It's right on support. It's holding. It's managing to hold support with no buy. Okay. So if the sellers show up, we can take it down easy. Now, this is another not good product. Okay. This is not a good for trading. We hold it in our portfolio, but it is not good for trading. And coffee, I don't know what the hell happened here. Somebody got a coffee buzz. But after getting clobbered last week, it's recovered all the way back up. And this spike up is interesting. I don't have a good read here. I mean, I do think that the commodities in general, the softs, are going much higher. Okay. But I didn't think they're going now. Okay. And this looks to me like some pretty wicked action. And of course, you can expect that in some of these markets because they're thin and they're kind of plagued with, the coffee markets are controlled a lot by who do you think? Who do you think controls the coffee markets? Okay. The drug dealers are big players in coffee. Okay. You figure out where drugs come from and where coffee comes from, it makes sense, right? So in the meantime, again, for today, we're short. So I'd like to be a seller. Again, I'd love to sell. I wish the volume was a little bigger. I might have even taken a shot at it myself as a trade, but typically, and like any of these soft commodities or grains, there are certain prices that I'm buying. I don't care. And I'm holding forever until they go to zero, which again, consumable goods don't go to zero. Okay. If you know what I'm saying, right? They're not going out of business. It's not a company. Okay. We're not going to stop eating unless they force us to. Okay. So we'll see. But, we've seen some interesting action in the markets. We've seen some stuff going on. And at the end of the day, the trend is going to be your friend. The markets are going to trend. Now, they go in these really rocky periods of sideways action, which always sucks if it's far enough to trigger a reversal. But if it's not, then it's just part of the market. And I think that you have to remember, what are water table issues, my friend? Explain it to me, Lucy. I'm not sure what you mean. That's why I'm looking for a clarification. Okay. But I think that you look at the grain market right now, and we're obviously during a downtrend, but weather is pretty brutal. Now it's too early to make the final classification on the weather. Okay. But if we don't have a bumper crop, we have a massive food shortage. So demand will overwhelm the supply. All right, let me stop this recording. Okay, and we'll get on to the actual Monday call. So hold on one second. Don't go anywhere. Stop. Yeah, let my girlfriend give me her usual. Thanks, honey. Okay. All right. And what's up? All those coming new, because I'm early. I get earlier and earlier. Pretty soon as I said, one day I'm gonna do it 24 hours. If we ever get busy again, or a Brexit can, I'll do it 24 hours. Okay, because I can. If you keep me alert, okay, which trading or money, I can stay awake longer. If I got nothing to do, I can go to bed anytime. But if you give me something to do, like Brexit, I trade for 36 hours straight. Okay. So in the meantime, it is the Monday Night Call. And of course, lots going on. And we're going to cover it all, including our stocks. And in the meantime, just so you know, I had the last week winning golf tournaments. Molinex last week at whatever that tournament was. Who I can't remember who won, but whoever won, I had both winners last week, and yesterday I had Cam Smith. But anyway, I think it's great that Kershaw gets to start in the All-Star game tomorrow. Unfortunately, it should be Sandy Alcantara. Okay, but I think it's very honorable to give it to Kershaw since it's a home game, and he is really, as they say in Yiddish, he's a mensch. He's really a nice guy, and in this day and age of guys holding out and making threats about their money, I've never heard much from him. Tonight's home run derby, Pete Alonso or Julio Rodriguez will win. Okay, and I think Shohei Ohtani will be the MVP of the game tomorrow. How's that? There you go. Okay, because that's all we get to talk about. I don't know other sports until Thursday. Anyway, so thank you, Mr. President. If you eat today, thank a farmer. If it's on your table, thank a trucker. If you eat in peace, thank a veteran. If you can't afford to eat, thank Joe Biden. Okay. The wealth of a nation is always its people. And do you see the wealth destruction that we're having right now? Okay. Why are volumes so light when will volumes pick up? Well, if I knew when volumes would pick up, I would be a genius, but I don't. Okay. They're light for a number of reasons. One being that there's a lack of real participation or interest overall in the market, okay, which is why you're stuck in consolidation. Okay, I think when you start to trend again, and I think that trend will be down, I think you'll see volume start to accelerate again. Okay. Experts call blockchain a technological fraud. Look, again, we've heard both sides' argument. Okay. I do not believe it's a technological fraud. I think it's real. I've said it earlier, and I'll say it again. I think that the experts, and is that information coming through the government and being passed through? Because one thing governments hate, okay, is not the ability to take care of the money. Okay. They want to control the fiat currency market. The most fraudulent markets in the world, okay, are the fiat currency system. Okay. You want to talk about criminals? The central banking system is loaded because they have so much flexibility on what they can do with the dollars. And that's the yen, the euro, every major currency buys less today than it did yesterday and the week before, and so on. Okay, I mean, the central banking system has been scamming the UK or London or the Britain since 1600s. Okay, and the scammers that put it together here, which include the Rothschilds and J.P. Morgan and others. Okay, all it is a mechanism to steal money. Okay, to make your dollars worth less, so that government can spend more. Okay, and hide through inflation and other things the taxation. Okay. So, anyways, somebody asked me his questions 2 weeks ago. I forgot to put them in. And anyways, I'm doing it now. I hope you're here, but I'm going to answer them quick anyways. Why do gaps always seem to fill in graphs? They go, well, first of all, markets go up and down. So eventually gaps get filled. They're kind of like a magnet when they do show up. They don't have to be automatic, but they will usually get there because the markets will churn back and forth. So eventually, there are gap trades that are quick trades that you make them right away, which I'm not going into now. And then there's gap trades that just eventually fill. But they are like a magnet to at least fill that gap. So if you get a big gap down, more than likely there could be a rally back to fill the gap and then break down further. Okay, it's usually the bottom or top of the gap will act as support or resistance. Okay. An ETF like PPLT that is thinly traded, what happens in a crash? Does PPLT get crushed on low volume? Will it affect the price of platinum? Well, it kind of trades off of the price of platinum, but ETFs themselves like this, with all these fees, and no volume are hard to overcome. As you know, I've told you many, many times before, I would never own these for long term. Okay, I don't own leverage for long term of ETFs, and I would not own crappy, thinly traded, because one thing about an ETF, it may be benchmarked against the commodity, right? But the somebody owns that. There's a company that owns that ETF, and that company can get in trouble, okay, and go out of business. Okay, we've seen it happen before. Okay. Again, you want to trade PPLT, fine, but why would you just trade platinum? Okay, or buy real platinum? What do you do? What do you want to deal with this shit ETF for? That's what I want to know. Okay, that's my only question. Why would you want to deal with a piece of crap ETF when platinum is almost free right now? Okay, and there's like 1,000 other ways to trade it. What you're taking, the 320,000 tons of gold just discovered in Uganda, South Africa, and Africa. Will this gold put gold into its grade, average grade? Look, again, I'm going to repeat myself as always. Okay, markets will go where markets will go, including gold. The 320,000 tons is a pimple on the ass of a donkey. Okay, that has no meaning in virtual, even if it's real. Okay, you can see by price, and gold is not lower because we have too much of it. Okay, gold is lower because the trend is down, and because right now the sellers are dominating the buyers. Okay? But there are still buyers, and gold has proven over time that it will go higher. Okay, that it will go higher. I mean, hell, I remember gold was it $80? Okay, I mean, gold will go higher, just like the markets. It'll appreciate in value, but it doesn't have to appreciate today. Okay. Highest of high grade 320 is this bullshit? Well, I don't know. I mean, again, I haven't seen it. And again, I would not sell your physical gold. Okay. Unless you don't have the money. But if you're buying physical gold and you're here, then there's no reason why you're buying it. Okay. If you can't hold it. Okay. I am never selling my physical metals. And I mean never. Okay. The day I die, my kids will jump in there and they'll sell it all. Me, I'm never selling 1 ounce. Okay. Paper gold, I'll sell all day long. Okay, if I'm trading it. But physical gold, physical silver, and physical platinum, I'm never selling. Okay. So that's all I can say. Okay, when it comes to that. So I hope that answered questions. Okay. And nice shot, John. I spent Wednesday and part of Thursday in Denver, and all I did for 4 hours, well, actually, it was 3 hours and 20 minutes. A great round at a great course. I played like a pig. Okay, but I say, nice shot, John. Nice shot, John. It's all I do is pound the crap out of him. Okay, made me look like a dog. Well, I am a dog, but he beat the crap out of me, as did his son, and the two of them. My son and I, Xander, which you can see on the right, got destroyed. Okay. And all we had to do is say, nice shot, nice shot, nice shot. Okay. We had a great time. And I'm thanking you publicly as well as I thank you privately. It was one of the best 24-hour periods I ever spent. And I'm thrilled. Great to be there, even though I stink. And I'll see you on the 31st. Anyways, no politician who supports gun control should get armed protection paid for those by they're trying to disarm. What do you think? Okay. What do you think about that? Okay. I mean, Nancy Pelosi wants gun control, yet she lives in a guarded, gated house. Okay. Should they be entitled that right? Okay. And of course, always to our public servants, God Almighty, thank you. I mean, there's more and more violence every day, and it's got nothing to do with gun control. Okay, it's got everything to do with the battle that is being created, the shitstorm that is being put up by this administration. Okay, look, again, you can like them or not, I don't care. It's your vote, you get your vote. But to me, there's never been any worse than what we have now. And we've never had, you can talk about Trump and his divide all you want. Okay. The country has never been so divided as it is today. Okay. And there are so many key hotspot issues that I could spend years talking about, but I'm going to move on. But to my public servants, especially military, police, listen, you guys take care of us and God bless, because without it, I couldn't be having this platform right now. I couldn't have got my ass kicked in Denver on the other day. In the meantime, oil surges after Biden fails to win Saudi pledge to pump more crude. Well, gee, that was shocking. Let me think here for a minute. Aramco, which is Saudi Arabia, they're in business to make money. You got the biggest country in the world begging you for more oil, knowing that they got to buy either way because they got no balls and won't drill their own. Okay, even though we outproduce them, while the Trump was in power. Okay, so should we give them some more because we got all we want, or should we hold them up so we can make them pay more? Okay, I mean, pretty easy, logical question, I think. Okay. Chevron CEO responds to Biden's repeated allegation of price gouging. Now, does this guy ever not blame somebody else for what he created? Okay. Now, those who have been with me for the longest know that we said this the day after the election, that the oil was going to at least 100. Okay. And it had nothing to do with Russia. It had nothing to do with Saudi Arabia. It had everything to do with a stroke of a pen. Okay. Him and his buddy Obama, who put the coal workers out of business. Okay. Yet we're burning more coal. Okay. Not us, but the world is burning more coal. There isn't enough of it. Okay. But yet let's think that we can hide from the pollution that they're creating. Okay. Let's think that we can hide from all this crap. Okay. Really? Is this where we are right now? I mean, this is ridiculous. Strong dollar extends gains with no end to rally and say, well, it ended today a little bit. But the gains themselves are levels we haven't seen. Okay. Why? Because again, you got fear playing out here. JP Morgan rattles markets, 28% drop in profits and $428 million in loan loss provisions. Now, anytime a bank reports, it's very tricky to really get a handle on what that really means. Okay. Now, you've heard me say this before. I'm going to say it again. I don't think that 100% of the banks could pass a real stress test. If I send in my own auditors and to check out their balance sheets, I would bet you will find that probably 35 to 40% of the banks couldn't survive. Okay. And if something goes bonkers as it did in 08, which I think we're looking for it again, I think that a lot of these would be out of business. But of course, you know that we will be bailing them out once again. So it's very tricky because you know JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs never lose money. Okay. They may claim some losses and they may write down some stuff, but truly they are the most successful two banks in the world. Okay. The words of wisdom from our Connie: risk comes from not knowing what you are doing. Now, I don't think that you could be, of course, Goldman Sachs earnings were good today. I think you'd be any more clear than that. Okay. If you don't know what you're doing, should you be taking the risk? Do you think insurance companies that are underwriting life insurance policies and all kinds of insurance, do you think they don't know exactly what their risk exposure should be? Okay. This is like the CDOs and all the stuff during the 08 crash. You know, nobody assumed that the market could ever crash like it did, which is what brought these derivatives upon derivatives upon derivatives, which created the meltdown altogether. Okay. The banks were over leveraged as usual, and they'll be over leveraged again. And that's where they make the mistake. But the difference between an average investor like us, who should know what our risk is and be able to account for our risk and know what we've got at stake just in case, is different from those that took those big shots. Why? Because those who took those big shots knew that the Fed would come in on a white horse and riding and save them. Okay. They aren't going to save you. They're not going to save me. Okay. And of course, your State of the Unions, which are a classic. Latinx word of the day. Inflation's hit a 40-year high, but we won't talk about it. About this. I can't even read it with a straight face. I mean, why is it not in the headlines? It was in the headlines for 20 minutes, but you don't hear about it. Okay. Why aren't we doing something about it? And certainly, okay, we could correct the high inflation in 5 minutes. Okay. But why would we want to do it? Why would we want to not torture United States citizens? Okay. The taxpayers who really support this country, the bootstrappers. I mean, yeah, you kidding me? they think that they're actually hiding from somebody. People know they can't afford to eat. Okay. I don't know, but they can afford to get a lot deeper in debt, and that's a big problem. And of course, I know I've been bitching for, I don't know, hour and 20 minutes, but one more. Okay. Nancy Pelosi urges support of $1 billion, 50 billion chips bill House after disclosing 8 million NVIDIA stake. Now, are you kidding me? Okay. This bitch her husband bought $8 million worth of NVIDIA stock last week. She knew that bill was coming up to be voted on. Okay. Now, why is it legal for them, okay, to own inside information and act upon it and not for us? Does anybody want to help me with that? Okay. Somebody explain that to me. Okay. How somebody can get the information, load up a position, and then urge people to vote for that bill at the same time. Okay. I mean, you got to be kidding me. Now, Hillary Clinton was pretty good too. Okay. Anyways, all right, so let's go look at some stocks and get you on your way. I know I talk too much, so what the hell? Let me find my list there. Okay, Connie, I didn't take off what I said I was going to take off. I forgot which one I told you. I'm sure I'll remember when I look at them today. In the meantime, in the indexes, Echo Sierra, actually, Yankee Michael is always first. The Dow Yankee Michael, again, as I said hours ago, we're nothing more than in consolidation. We're in a downtrend. Okay. It is no surprise that they melted down today. And look at where they melted down from. Right at congestion, right at the top end, bang, zoom. And certainly we could stay in this consolidation pattern or we could break further. Okay. Either way, I'm a seller at 31.6 until my hands bleed. I'm not buying at any price right now. Now, again, that precludes day trading. Day trading has nothing to do with this. Okay. I'll be on either side. And for 4 minutes, I can stomach anything. Okay. In the meantime, I think 30,400, 31.6. Okay. But I ain't a buyer, even at 30,400. Okay. The S&P Echo Sierra, again, this didn't even make the top end of resistance and failed. Okay. And I think the levels are pretty clear. Okay. The 39.50, 37.50. Okay. I'm not a buyer, again, at any price right now. I'm only a seller. And for those who may choose to be a little bit aggressive, you can look at 3,900. Okay. I think that's, again, if depending on your risk tolerance and your stopping and what you're going to use for it, don't try that trade if you're going to take a tight stop. If you're going to use a tight stop in any index, don't waste your money because you're never going to win. Right. That's why the answer politics, poor and come out rich. And even the rich, they go in and get richer. Anyway, so 37.50, 39.50. Okay. The NASDAQ, November, Quebec, the same thing, but it did reach one of the levels you'd be looking at. And certainly, I think, 12,000, 12.1 would be a spot I'd be a seller. And I think you're going to see a pretty nasty meltdown in the NASDAQ. Again, I think we're in, maybe not as bad as 01, but I think we're in for another NASDAQ bath. Okay. In the meantime, the support's around 11.4, and I think 12.1 you can be a seller. Okay. And the Russell, Romeo Tango Yankee, 1770, 1780, 1680. Again, I'm a seller. I sold them this morning, and they get up there again, I'll sell them again. Okay. I think that the prudent trade is with the trend that meets a level of resistance. You'll see me write about that all the time. We are sellers if it reaches a resistance level. Okay. And the VIX, which I showed you earlier, but the VIX, I think this was a pretty big tip off. The VIX did not take out Friday's low. Okay. With the big rally that we had, I mean, the indexes are up. I think the Dow was about 400. The NASDAQ was up 150. The S&P was up like 40 points. And the VIX was still higher. That's a little bit of a warning sign to think about. Okay. And again, nothing is 100% absolute, but the VIX is a good guide. Okay. That if you're watching the VIX, okay, as part of one of your strategies, okay, if it's going down and the market's going up, that's the natural relationship. If it's going up and the market's going down, that's natural. But the market is railing and the VIX is railing, the VIX is more often right than the market, which means the market's probably going to fail. So we're short all indexes, correct. We're short almost everything. we're short almost everything. All right. All right. Apple, Alpha Papa Lima. We're not short Apple. We are long Apple. Okay. But it did reach, remember last week I told you 152. It reached that level. It's got earnings either this week or next week. I think it's one more week, right? For earnings. In the meantime, we are long. Okay. I think, again, 145 to 152, and they could break out above 152. Okay. But again, I'm not totally thrilled with anything here. Okay. Other than what I'm holding in my long-term positions. Okay. But we are long Apple. Okay. Alpha Golf, which again is really here for one reason. And I don't know if I should cover it every week because I mean, we have it in a portfolio and we are still short and only in options. I would never short a stock like this naked. Okay. Because again, the risk is way too great for my taste. But I carry this because when silver does turn around, and I believe it will at some point, this is going to go back and this could go to 20, 30, 50. And nobody knows where it could go. Okay. But on the way down, it's pretty close to where it's going to go. But in the meantime, we are short. But please never short the stock here. And in fact, when you look at it, you go, okay, what can I make now? If I short it here, if it goes to zero, what can you make? You make $7. I think there's a lot better choices for individuals to make. Again, I'm carrying this like I used to carry the VXX and if I could find a good substitute for the VXX, I'd love to put it in, but I only carry it for the potential upside. Okay. In the meantime, it looks like supports, let's say 660 to 720. AMD, Alpha Michael Delta, which was up much greater today, came back down. We are still short. To me, it looks pretty clear that 85 or so is resistance. Now the key here, we might have seen a little bit of a bounce in the higher support. Again, this could be showing a potential turn. I know there's some good news for the chips, and not Nancy Pelosi's news. They do have earnings this week or next week. By the 29th, they have earnings as well. I think right now, as you look at it, 86 to 85 is resistance. I think 75 is support. Okay. And we are short. Amazon, which I'm going to put in soon. We have no position in this right now. I personally have a position which is long. Okay. It's in my hedging portfolio. But it looks like, again, pretty much just a whipsaw of consolidation between 107 and 118 or so. Now it's a pretty big move, but that stock does justify it. Okay. And if you're going to hedge it, you can buy it. Okay. But if you're just trading it, I'd more want to be a seller. Bravo Alpha. Okay. And we are long Baba. We're long Baba. Okay. Not that I like it because I hate it. Okay. But I would think it did show they could hold the 103 support level. I think 110 is kind of resistance. I was kind of surprised it didn't reverse. So we'll see. It won't reverse tomorrow because it was up today. So it looks like it was ugly. But again, I think that 110 is probably up at the upper end of this range. 103 held so far. We'll see. Okay. And for anybody who's in the portfolios, would you care if I replace Baba with Google or Amazon? Just a question. I'm not doing it. I'm just questioning. At least I get an honest answer and know what you think. Okay. Bido, Bravo, Indio, Tango, Oscar. We have not made a recommendation on this call yet because I don't think we're going to be able to. This is the bottom line. Okay. And I think I may lead this on, Connie, but I don't think we have to track it because I don't think I'm ever going to make a trade in it because it doesn't appear to me. The reason I was using it is because I wanted to see how it handled the futures backwardation and contango. Well, right now you can't trade past the current month in Bitcoin. So the reason I put it here, I can't trade off of it. Okay. Now I can cover it just because, again, this goes to if you really want to be short Bitcoin, you can do it through here. Or if you really want to be long Bitcoin, but don't want to deal, in the dark space or the wallets, then you can use this. This is pretty accurate to the movement of Bitcoin. Okay, and I do own some of this. I bought it much higher, and I'm never selling it until it goes to zero. In the meantime, looking at it, it looks like 14, which held. I think it's like 12 to 14. But if you're looking to buy Bitcoin and you're willing to hold this, okay. Right now, I have no concerns at how it's going to trade, versus the actual future. And that's the big thing when you get into the backwardation and contango patterns. The firms either don't understand them that own these ETFs or screw you. Okay. If you ever saw Lethal Weapon 2, Joe Pesci will tell you what they do to you in the drive-thru. Okay. Okay. So, okay. All right. Well, we're going to see Google too. We'll get there, big boy. I'm only on the B's. I'm only on the Brooks. Okay. Anyways, so 12 to 14. But again, I'd be a buyer. I mean, this is me. Again, I'm talking my book, I guess. Okay. I don't have a book, but my own position. Okay. I'm a believer. And I mean, if I lost, if all my Bitcoin and cryptos went to zero tomorrow, I promise I wouldn't miss a meal and I wouldn't miss a night's sleep. I wouldn't be that angry. Okay. BitQ, it's a little bit of a pop. Now, again, this is very determined on what's going on in Bitcoin, which you can see. Again, these are more for gambling. We don't carry this. We only carry one. Actually, I guess coin is a crypto kind of stock. So we carry two in our portfolios in general. This is not one of them. This is one I also own, and obviously you can see. Ouch. But again, only if you're gambling, know that you're going to lose $672 for 100 shares you buy. Okay, do not try to play options in this. Okay, it's just you're going to get ground up. Okay. In the meantime, for today, Connie, 550 to 7. Okay. Chewy, Charlie Hotel, Whiskey Yankee, which we are long, and it had a very nice move. And again, look what happened. What did I say to you last week? The move was a little bit too steep. It should go sideways and consolidate, which is exactly what it's doing. And it looks to me as, let's say, 41 to 47, okay, or 46, okay, but on its way higher. I think it's on its way next to 50, but it's got to break out above before it can get to 50. And I would not be surprised to see this churn even longer, again, going sideways, because that's what it should do, okay, in these kind of conditions, okay. Coin, which we are still short and have been short forever. Again, this is just in consolidation. Okay. In fact, it was up. What was it up? Like 65 to 64. I mean, basically, we're still short, and I think that you're looking at probably, 50 to 70. Okay, and you're going to say, "Well, you're nuts." Well, we know I'm nuts. That's besides the point. But if we just look at what the expectation of movement here is, this week till Friday is $6.50, and the next Friday is $11. Well, if I take $11 on either side, that takes me to my levels, doesn't it? Okay. So again, I'm not out of line. I'm right spot on without seeing that. Okay, and I think it's 50 to 70. Okay. Now, I'm short this in the portfolio. I own it in my hedging. Okay, so. DraftKings, which I said I think we're going to get rid of. We carry a position in the portfolio. I have not changed that either. But DraftKings, we are long. Again, this and Penn and any others like them are garbage. I was wrong. I made a very uncharacteristically bad. I make many bad reads, but not this bad. Okay, and I forgot the key ingredient, which is how much money they can actually make per quarter. And it's only dependent on how much they handle. Again, it's a long story. In the meantime, I still own what I own, and it's still hedged. I'm not buying anymore. I'm not even buying anymore on a gamble. I'm not gambling. I do gamble with them, but I'm not gambling here. And they're still giving away money like drunken sailors. So, but I think that, probably 14 should be pretty solid resistance if it happens to get there. And I think $10 is probably pretty solid support. But again, I think there's a lot better things to trade right now than DraftKings. Okay, my only hope in DraftKings is that it gets taken over. That's the only thing I can hope for. because I don't think that it can ever make enough money to overcome what they're giving away. Meta, which is Facebook, listen, I mean, we're short this, and it's really, again, like many other stocks, it's found a bottom, which is about 155, and right now it appears to have found the top at about 170. And that hasn't changed. We've been churning in that 155 to 175 for quite a while. And of course, part of that is because of the rate at which it dropped down, brings in consolidation. And if you look here, okay, and you extend that down, this is where, as they say, the rubber should meet the road if it's going to break back to the upside. Or I think it's going to fail. Okay. Now they do have earnings. Again, we just started earnings season on Thursday or Friday last week. And you got Goldman Sachs today, and I don't know who else this week, but more financial institutions are this week. Facebook's got to be within the next couple of weeks. I think that, again, I don't think earnings are going to be that good. Okay. And I don't think it really matters. I think the trends are down, and I think we're seeing that. Okay. Anyway, so 155 to 175. First Solar, Foxtrot, Sierra, Lima, Romeo. Did they have earnings yet? Or I think they're coming, right? Didn't you have them today, right? Let me just confirm before I open my mouth. Next week. Okay, cool. All right, we're short this. We sold this morning. Okay, we reversed here. It's really first of all, it's in a big range. Let's say 62 to 72. But if you want to tighten it up a little bit, you could probably look at 65. Okay, to probably 71. All right. Again, it's really just stuck in a big old chop there. Okay. And Friday's big sell-off was almost not, if I was watching it, which I don't usually trade this except for in the portfolio. But if I was watching it, it would have been one I might have looked at to potentially buy as a trade, not as for anything else. But again, you get that big blow off to the downside. It's only a natural reaction. It's going to get a bounce. And we were fortunate because we sold into a rally, not into the hole. So we'll see how it plays out. In the meantime, we'll use 65 to 72 kind. GDX, Golf Delta X-Ray, which I don't trade except in the portfolio, and I don't even really watch except for on Monday nights. This looks like garbage. Now, the beauty of this is that it doesn't go down that fast. It goes down steadily, but it may be finding a bottom. And I would suspect that this will bottom before the precious metals themselves bottom. Okay. Me too. Okay. Me too, my brother. Okay. So I think that, this may, I don't know. It's not a downtrend, but this could be the start. And I think this will bottom before the metals themselves. Now, again, we're still short. Okay. And for that reason, I will tell you that probably 26, 27 would be a selling spot. Okay. And support would be, 24. Google, which we're going to add to this call and eventually add to the portfolio models, it's split now. So it's 20 for one. Okay. So now Google's trading at $109. Now we can trade it. We can watch it. Everybody can participate if they choose to. Okay. And basically, what do you got? You get nothing but big, wide consolidation in a market that is trending low. Okay. Obviously, the trend. Okay. And we've now gone into consolidation. I did buy some today. Okay. For my hedging portfolio. Okay. Again, what I'm willing to do in my hedging has nothing to do with what my overall opinion of the market is. Because I'm always willing to buy because I can hedge it and protect it. Okay. To a mathematical certainty. So, and I can accumulate when times get dire, which I'm not afraid to do. Okay. But when I'm looking at this, based on what we're watching here, it looks like it might have found some support at 107 or so. 104 would be the bottom end, and it'd be 118 at the top. I'd go with 104 to 118. Okay. And this one, and this pattern, depending on how it got there, I'd be interested in trading either side. Goldman Sachs, Gulf Sierra. Okay. And I guess they had good earnings. I don't know what they were, but I know they were good by what I heard. The stock popped and started to drop. Okay. Now, again, I did not make any trade here, so I'm only giving you the speculation of what I might have done if I were watching, but I wasn't. But to me, I certainly would have been looking up in here as it was rallying. If I could have found something to put on that seemed reasonable. Again, the huge volume is always a clue to look for. But it did beat and it did rally and it has come back from 280. Okay. And is now, it got to 310. Now we're still short this. Okay. And I would suggest that you're probably looking at 310 as the resistance, or a little bit low, a little bit lower possibly. And obviously, 280 is support. Now we're still short. Okay. And this is pretty ugly from a trading standpoint. This would suggest, unless there's some major turnaround in these markets around, that this is going lower. IWM in the USD, Michael, like the rest of the crap, it's sideways with no volume. Okay. I mean, we're short, pretty clear, 178, 160. Again, you can't change what the patterns are. Okay. And it's certainly, all they did is relieve this huge sell-off. Okay. And overall, there you go. I mean, this would be, again, the moment of truth would be if it gets back to it. Okay. Mara, which is the one other crypto that we have, and I was going to take it off, and then suddenly it decided to come to life. Okay. Now, what does it mean? Listen, I'm going to be very clear. We have a position on this, our portfolio. We are shorted. Okay. And we'll probably be long tomorrow. But this is purely speculation on Bitcoin. Okay. If you trade it, okay, that's what it's about. There's nothing really backing this other than the cryptocurrency. Okay. And as you can see, Bitcoin was charging higher earlier. It was at like 1,500 at one time, and this was flying along with it. Okay. In the meantime, for now, we're still short. I would suggest 11. Now, I will never naked short the stock. Okay. I could buy a call or two and sell the stock. I could create some kind of spread to be short, but never will you ever see me short a stock under $10, stock itself, and B, short a stock that could be so unbelievably news driven by an underlying asset that I have no control over, that trades 24/7. To me, anybody who would short the stock naked is a moron. Okay. Okay. Anyways, in the meantime, I would say, 10, what did I say before? I think 11 is probably the resistance, 10, 11. And I think the support down around $5. Okay. And my source says is going to 3. But again, they could be wrong, but they've been pretty right, pretty dead nuts right on so far. Okay. NEO, November India Oscar. Again, just sideways trade, relieving the opposite. Okay. We went straight up. Now we're going sideways. So you can see that works on both sides of the markets. Okay. It works on both sides. You go straight up, you come down a little bit, and it's going sideways. Okay. I mean, we're still long. The trend is still up. It hasn't been damaged. It's just in a sideways consolidation pattern. And look at where it's at, right on support. I mean, I think it's 20 to 23. Okay, and that's the range, believe it or not. 20 to 23. Nougat, November Uniform Golf Tango. Well, this has been dire the whole time. Fortunately, we never reversed it, and we're still shorted. Again, this could be, this is GDX on double steroids. Okay, this is GDX that could explode. Now, remember one thing also, when these leveraged ETFs get cheaper in price, okay, the multiplier is smaller as well. Okay. Now, because if you don't know, the leveraged ETFs don't work on a normal market like we watch every day. There is a multiplying effect, and this is 2 times whatever. Okay, but obviously 2 times 30 is a lot smaller than 2 times 50. Okay. This is the equation that President Biden can't get with oil. When you raise oil prices, the tax base that you're charging 5% goes up with it as well. Okay. These don't go up as fast until they get to a certain level. That's why when you see them get, depending on which side you're going, but if they start going your way and they start getting to bigger numbers, obviously the rallies yourselves become bigger and bigger and bigger. But right now, this is kind of a dead issue. And I wouldn't be surprised if the first initial burst, even GDX, as slow as it is, could outperform this initially. Okay. In the meantime, it looks to me like 25, 25 would be the next level down, even though it's not showing here. I think it's 25 to 35. NVIDIA, Nancy Pelosi's husband bought, they must have sold out today. Must have taken their few $1 million and added on to their hundreds of millions that they have and sold out. Okay. In the meantime, NVIDIA, which we are short, and I think you're looking at 170 as the top end, which is kind of almost the top today. I think it's all the way down to 140. Okay. 170, 140. Now, there should be some support at about 150 on the way down, if I'm correct. Okay. Penn, Papa Echo, November. Look, this is the same as DraftKings. This is just a different venue that gives away too many free perks. Okay. We are still short this, and could it change? Sure. But in the meantime, it's really just 28 to 34. And unless somebody takes them over, they're gonna go out of business. You cannot keep giving away more than you earn and have a negative balance sheet and hope that your investors are going to keep holding out. Qs, Quebec. And look at that, right to the top end at resistance, failed. I think this hasn't changed. I think we're looking at 300. Okay, is the resistance. Again, I think it's 280 to 300. And I would not be surprised that before summer's over, that we take out these lows at 268. We'll see. Okay. In the meantime, 280, 300. Riot, which is coming off. Again, this is just another gambling play on cryptocurrency. If you choose to play, I'm not recommending that you do. I'm just giving you facts. And by the way, if you're not aware, Tradier soon will have cryptos, okay, that will actually count with margin and they won't affect your other trading as well. So that's a pretty good do. If you like to trade, if you want to actually actively trade the cryptos or own them, you will get margin coverage for them, which you don't get anywhere else. Okay. In the meantime, this is like 450 is support, which again, you're just gambling. You're speculating on a move. I would not work. I think there's better ways to play this too. If you want to I think this should be dead right now. To me, this is a dead issue at the moment. Okay. In this particular commodity or stock. Roku, Romeo Oscar Kilo uniform, which we're still short. Look, it's bouncing, but it continues to fail to make the next level. I think 95 is now a resistance. Again, it looks like we're 85 to 95, but I think seriously, there's a greater chance that we take out the lows of 72. Okay. Remember, this stock came from about 40 bucks. Anyways, kind of what I said. I gave you numbers already, yes. Square Dance, which has earnings, I think next week or soon. In the meantime, it's in consolidation. Like a lot of things, is doing nothing. But what is just relieving the oversold conditions that it created. Okay. Does anybody not understand what that means? Okay. But when markets get dramatically overbought or oversold, they will typically tend to consolidate before either reversing the trend and going the other way, or then continue and with continuation in the trend that they're going. Okay. And that's what you're watching here, because many of the drops are so big that the markets are never going to handle it. Markets don't move that big at one time. Even in the dark depths of 08, with all the big moves, they still always manage some mean reversion. Okay. In the meantime, as we look here, we could say, 55 to 70, 55 to 70, and we are short. I personally own it though as well in my hedging account. Spider, Sierra, Papa Yankee. I think you're looking at 395, 370. Okay. Again, nothing more than the same as I've pointed out in most charts already. Tango, Quebec. Now this is another one, okay, that when you look at it, right, it's leveraged against the Qs. So it's not going to match percentage moves with the Qs yet. It needs to get a little bit higher in pricing. You're getting to a point where you play this the reverse splits are going to come in. Okay, that's one of the things to always be concerned about these, is because they jack them back up. They give you a 5-to-1 reverse split, they make it 100 again. And I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that would be the 5-for-1 or 10-for-1 reverse, which means that they're going to hammer it again. They got more fees, but also hammer the stock, but it doesn't make the multiplier bigger again. In the meantime, this is really stuck. Probably 28 on the upside, 22 on the downside. Tesla, Tango Sierra Lima Alpha. I don't know, had a big move, and now it's just sideways again. Again, if you just look at it the way we talk about it, there it is. And here's a consolidation. I think you're looking at still the same as last week, 640 to 800. When, as much as China tries to torture them, they try to bounce, but they're not bouncing very, very well at the moment. But yet we're still short it. But it has had some nice movement. And of course, obviously, this is very much tied to Macau. And again, China shut down for at least another week. And it's interesting it's like Russia with the Nord 1. They're shut down for maintenance. How are they going to reopen? Or are they going to really hammer Germany? But in the meantime, we're short this, and I would say 52.50 or so to 60. Okay. And this is no different than any of the other ones. Big down, got to have some resolution. I do own this as well, just again, in my hedging portfolio. XBI, well, now this is the opposite. See, went up too fast, bang, try to consolidate again, and here it is, consolidating out. Okay. So right now it's pretty clear. It looks like it's 80 to 85. And if I were to guess, the trend is higher. We don't cover it anymore, but I tell you, the trend is probably higher. And I'd like to be a buyer, somewhere down here. If I wanted to play it, I'm not recommending you to do it. Tesla reports Wednesday. Thank you. I'm not telling you to jump out and buy it, but that would be the side I'd be looking for if I were going to trade, would be the buy side. And Zoom. Okay, Zoom continues to struggle, and now is once again back below the 100. I think you're looking at probably 105 resistance or so, and support. Obviously, first is 95, but I think you're going to see the lows taken. That's my opinion. We'll see if they get down there. And certainly, if you have anything you want me to look at, I'll be happy to look at a couple. But also, know that it's still, we don't have the green light to be aggressive yet. I think you have to remember that the conditions of the market are still pretty challenging. You get some moves, but you're not getting any support behind those moves. And that creates what we call a lot more vacuum type of trades. ATG, sorry here, Kroger. I love Kroger. I don't even know where it's at, but I own some, but I don't, again, I don't watch that stuff. But the dividend is so big, it used to be. I don't even know. I mean, look, it's in a clear downtrend. Okay. Again, I would only be a buyer of this if I were hedging it right now. Okay. But it does pay a pretty big dividend, or it used to. I got to go to where I know how to get it fast instead of not get it. Okay. But it used to be a big. I can't. Who can remember? I can't follow for two seconds. Oops. Yeah, it's reduced 2%. So look, I don't think it's a buy here. Okay. Certainly, it's held, but I think it's only going to resume the downtrend. I mean, they can't get goods. How they can ever meet their numbers? Okay. Now, I think it'll be a buy again at some point, and certainly I wouldn't sell it if I owned it, but I'd rather hold it and hedge it. Okay. ATGE, Alpha Tango. Is that right? Alpha Tango. You're welcome, my brother. Go up, Echo. This looks pretty good. Adtalem Global Education. I don't know who these guys are, but they look pretty damn good to me. In the face of trouble, that looks pretty good. Okay. I mean, look, I don't trade this. I don't even know who it is. Never heard of it. However, if I was looking at this chart naked in my Speedo, I'd look to be a buyer at 37. Okay, and I'm assuming this is highs, not seen for yeah. I think the next resistance is going to be 40. Looks pretty good though. Where am I here? Hold on, I got to catch up. You guys are going too fast. Cat, Charlie Alpha Tango. Like, so as we stated before, it looks awful. Obviously, you got hammer with the grains as well. You know, listen, I'm not a buyer here, but somewhere down here, you know, if they're going to hedge it, if I was going to buy it and hedge it, which I'm not, I would be a buyer here and just hedge it. But if, on a straight trade, I don't see any reason to jump in yet. It doesn't give me enough proof that it's going to go up, and certainly it looks like it could go a lot lower. Okay, so I'm not a big fan there. Oshkosh, OSK, Oscar, Sierra Kilo, Oshkosh. This looks pretty pathetic too. Yeah, I'm not a buyer here either, unless I'm going to hedge it. Okay, again, remember there's a difference, but from a straight looking at a chart, I want no part of it. Okay, you're welcome. My pleasure. XLE looks pretty sick last I looked at it, and it still looks pretty sick. Okay. Look, this is not the greatest of all traders, okay, but certainly I would think that it's going lower yet still. Okay, I mean, again, if you're looking to take a shot on oil, I wouldn't be doing it here. Okay. I don't know, you know, any other reason to be playing this. I don't like it. Okay, I mean, I have it, but I don't like it. Okay. Again, I don't think it trades enough for me, but certainly in a bad downtrend. And Walmart, Whiskey Michael Tango, I think it recovered pretty nicely from the earnings model. Yeah, this is actually, now we don't trade this, we don't carry this, but this looks pretty good. Okay, I noticed that the other day. It has come all the way back from its beat down on earnings. Looks like it's trying to break out here. I'd tell you the truth, I'd be watching 130. Okay. If it can get over 130 and hold, I think it might be a pretty good buy. Sure, I'll get Netflix for you, but and Netflix, November Foxtrot, Lima X-ray. Look at this. After the earnings debacle, they have earnings today too, or tomorrow? Oh, tomorrow. Okay. I mean, this looks awful. I mean, it's been dead solid sideways. To me, it looks like they're going out of business. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong. I never liked Netflix, but so that's why I never bought it like a schmuck. But again, I think it looks to me, you know, it looks like it's 160 to 200. We're close the upper end, but you get earnings Wednesday, so or tomorrow. So there's really nothing to trade right now. I think more better to look at it after earnings, but you know, is it going to go up and fill this gap, which somebody asked earlier in one of those questions? I mean, I don't think he's doing it tomorrow, but what are they expecting for movement? Let me just look at this real quick. Now I'll let you guys all go. We're pricing in $31. Okay, so 15% movement. No, I mean, it's hard to believe it'll go another 15% down, but certainly it could. I certainly wouldn't buy it. I mean, if I had it hedged, I wouldn't care. In fact, I'd like to see it go lower. If I didn't have it hedged, I'd hate to own it, and I certainly wouldn't be a buyer. All right, listen, just be careful. Again, you got nothing going on right now. Go play golf. Do what I did. I played golf. I didn't even look last Wednesday. I was on the golf course. Okay. I should have looked at the market because my golf game sucks. But nice shot, John. Took care of me, and we had a great time at the Rockies game. What seats we had. Marvelous 24 hours. I can't believe it. I didn't know life was that good. Okay. All right, kids. Have a great week and just be careful. That's the bottom line. We'll see you next week. Have a good one. We'll see you later.